What is going on, you guys? It is your host Galadon back with another Lineage 2 Revolution video. Today, talking about something I wish I knew about when I first started playing, and that is the field bosses. Look on the right hand side right here to the right of the minimap. You see the animal skull right there. If you click on that, you will bring up the boss status board, and you will see that every 4 hours world bosses or field bosses spawn in different zones around the world of Lineage 2, and you can go help take them down. These bosses drop loot and they drop cores. We will talk about that in a minute, but for now, let's check it out. You can see that each boss has a recommended combat power, and it increases from left to right. They drop loot. Now, that is a recommended combat power. You can get in there if you don't have it because it's out in the field. It's just, well, you may get one-shotted if you're out there after a much stronger field boss. So as we work our way up, you can see that each of these has the chance of dropping a forgotten scroll page. These are very valuable. If you get these, hold on to them. We will cover them in a future episode. There's definitely a whole episode just on these guys. But yes, you want to get in there and, if possible, get a group together and try to help out in getting the boss down. Obviously, if you are level 20, you don't want to go after Amadeus. You're going to get annihilated. But you can get there, and you can teleport there, or you can walk. Now, walking might be tough if it's not in the same zone, and teleporting can get expensive if you don't have the scrolls of escape. So we are going to go ahead and forward to one of the battles. Now, I'm just going to cover a few of the major bosses, this one being Flagon the Dragon, because we are Flagon as Dragon, okay? And right here, you can see those giant blue balls of doom. That's the major ability that you need to watch out for with Flagon, okay? Those will annihilate you. Also, the red circle of death, okay? Now, these are things that you're going to find in almost any raid boss or field boss that are obvious warnings. If you see a red circle on the ground, if you see something that looks like poison on the ground or it's dark, don't stand in it. Just get out of the way. Now, obviously, Flagon has other abilities going on here, but those are the two major ones you need to really worry about. You may get squished, but it's okay if you die. Just try to get back there. There is some inconsistency on if you're alive when the boss dies and you're not near it, whether or not you get the loot. So, especially my rule of thumb is, as it's down to that final 10%, be much more careful and try to avoid anything that is going to take you down. Now, there's the red circle. As I run out, I get out of that red circle. I'm going to try to avoid the blue balls of doom as well. There they are. So a couple of different abilities with Flagon specifically that you want to stay away from. Now, also, if you happen to be in a relatively high level group and you can be the group that does the most damage, you will receive the best awards. Okay, now everybody that's helped out here is going to get something, but the best awards go to that one group of players who end up doing the most damage to the boss. So Flagon, this guy was at 37 million hit points. He's just about to go down, under 1.5 million right there. And as Flagon goes down, you will see it pop up on the screen briefly. The top DPS group was Goku's group, and that is our group. That is the Paragon group. So we got the best rewards. But here's the thing. Every 4 hours, all of the bosses spawn, not just one. And they spawn on different channels as well. So I'll get to channels in a second. So we bop from going after Flagon, and now we're going to go after Cinna, or Cinna. We click on the skull, we go to Cinna, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to go after that boss because these high-level bosses can take a little bit longer to kill. So even if you spent the time taking one down, there's a good chance you can teleport, and sure enough, it is Cinna. And again, there is another red circle of death that you want to stay out of. It's going to give you a couple seconds notice after that appears on the ground, and if you can get out of the area, then you're going to avoid what could be several thousand in damage. Now, that is not as critical to me. Also, now Cinna drops poison puddles on the ground. There is one right there. It's kind of disguised, but you can also make it out pretty clearly if you keep an eye out for these. And this can be a problem because players who are not familiar with Cinna, well, they will sometimes not move her, and she needs to be moved as the battle progresses so that you are not standing on top of that poison puddle. You can see she's right directly on top of one right there. So ideally the tank, and there's 2 of them now, and then there's her red circle of doom as well. And so ideally the tank is going to move Cinna. There we go. And now the melee DPS can get in there without having to stand in the poison puddle of poo, or whatever you want to call it. So again, that is the big one. That will kill you super fast. The red circle, you'll notice it's doing about 7 or 8k of damage on me at a time. So not super critical when you've got over 40,000 hit points, but it's definitely something to worry about if you are a slightly lower level and maybe you're in a little bit over your head. You're just trying to get there for the rewards. That is definitely something you want to watch out for. Lots of splash damage, chain lightning type of stuff, and every now and then, okay, that right there, that was a little bit of internet lag that caused my screen to freeze up. But we're working on taking Cinna down, and you can see again, this is one of the strongest field bosses. She starts with 44 million hit points, but we can fast forward to the end of this battle, and as we do, I want to point out something top right corner. See where it says Kruma Swamp, and then below it it says 2 channel? If you click on that, you can actually change, well, think of it as a parallel universe. It is another channel with this zone in it. Because this zone has so many players, sometimes the game will create more than one channel. And what we can do is hop from channel to channel right here. Now we are on channel 1. You just click on it and then you select the channel you want to move to. And now what we're able to do is kill Cinna on channel 2, switch to channel 1, and kill Cinna again. And so we're going to get double kills right here for Cinna. You can only switch, I believe it's every 3 minutes you can switch channels, so you can't constantly be switching around. But it does work out really well in cases like this. Cinna was just about down when I switched over to channel 1, and now I'm going to get in on the kill. Obviously, not likely going to get the most damage, but at least we're there, and we're going to get credit, we're going to get loot for taking Cinna down. So as we fast forward to the end of Cinna's battle, let me tell you about something else, and that is the fact that these very high-level bosses can sometimes, well, they can stay ignored for a little while because they are difficult. They take a massive group of players to take down. So sometimes you can teleport to a boss and find that he's standing there and nobody's attacking him. In which case, you're either going to die very quickly or you're going to run like the devil and hope that somebody else shows up. So here we go. We're going to click on the skull again. We're going to check out Amadeus. We're teleporting right to Amadeus, this time on channel 3. And sure enough, he's alive and nobody's even touched him. So yeah, and he's also right in the middle of a bunch of level 100 mobs. So you can see why you need to have a certain combat power and level to have a chance. Now, I switched channels again, this time going to channel 1, trying to see if maybe Amadeus is being taken down on channel 1. So if you have the timer, and then sure enough, there it is, he is at about 50% health. So another big key right here is coordination with your party. If you can get into a party, then different party members can sometimes go to different channels, to different bosses, and communicate. Also, watch in world chat. Oftentimes people will say in the world chat, you know, Cinna channel 2, Amadeus channel 3, Flagon channel 1, and they'll tell you how far along the boss is in damage, and that way you're not wasting your time zoning in, using that scroll of teleportation, scroll of escape rather, to get to a boss that is already down, and then you've wasted it. So again, communication, watching world chat, trying not to die during the battles. As you can see, that is pretty important. And Amadeus, toughest world boss or field boss as it stands right now in the game, on his way down, started at 53 million health. And again, watch out for the red warning signs of each of the bosses. Everybody is slightly different. Amadeus would have what I would call a cleave back from my World of Warcraft days, and that is, you will see a red zone, but it's only a portion. It's just, say, in front of him, where he will do a massive amount of damage to anybody who is standing in that area. So you will also see that warning. You can get out of the way of that. And there we go. So now again, another party did the most damage, but it doesn't matter. We still got the rewards, and we still ended up picking up cores. The cores we will register in our codex in a little bit, and that will permanently increase various stats on our player, like crit rate, attack, defense, and so on and so forth. I'll show you that briefly in a minute, but we will dedicate an entire video to core farming in the future. Right now, we made it to another channel's Amadeus. We're off to kill yet another Amadeus. So we made it through something like 6 field bosses in this period of time right here. It took maybe 20 to 30 minutes to get all 6 of these field bosses, but that is some high-level loot, some high-level boss cores, and there you go. We picked up Amadeus's loot, and that is going to wrap up the battles of field bosses. So now what I want to do is go ahead and show you the registration of the cores that we picked up from this series of switching channels, of teleporting to different zones. So we open up our codex, and you will see that the higher level beasts drop cores that give better stats. So as we register 2 Amadeus cores, you can see the evasion is going to go up right there. So again, lots of individual player statistics are being affected right here. We pick up 2 Cinna cores as well on our way to maxing these out. Yes, I realize I'm a noob when it comes to my codex. I did not work on it early on, so I'm trying to catch up right now, and I've got a long ways to go. Spirit Shepherd, that was the first field boss that we took out, and there you have it. I hope this helps out a little bit. Get in there every 4 hours, farm those field boss cores, and I will see you guys again tomorrow for more full attacks.